Very good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this webinar today. My name is Krishna and I handle the business development for PageSense. And I have with me here my colleague Tanya, who's a product marketer. We will be hosting this session today.
Moving on to the agenda, we would be looking at a quick overview of CRO, and we're going to find out how to track visitor drop-offs, to analyze your visitor behavior, and of course, my favorite part, optimizing your website for more conversions. Post that, we would like to share some of the product updates, followed by the Q&A session. Without wasting further time, I'm going to dive into the topic, conversion rate optimization. In simple terms, CRO is nothing but increasing website conversions without spending more on marketing. In a bit elaborate fashion, CRO is a data-driven approach to improve the performance of your website. Well, it can be used to improve any metric that you see fit as your business goal, such as signups, new customer acquisition, or even increasing the download of a white paper. Well, looking at the fundamentals of a CRO process, the main idea is to figure out what your users are looking for when they arrive at your website and giving them exactly that. Now that we've looked into what a CRO is, let's look at what CRO could bring to the table. Implementing a CRO process into your organization has a wide range of benefits. I'm going to list a few that are mostly talked about. Clearly, increased website conversions tops the list. Besides that, CRO is definitely going to help you understand your customers better. It is also going to save you a lot of money by helping you decrease your marketing spend and increase your ROI. Oh, a quick fact based on the research by VentureBeat. They say brands that you use a CRO tool increase their ROI by 223%. Next is better user experience. Clearly, if you ask me to rate a website between 1 to 10, I would give 10 for a website which has a great user experience. Great user experience is not just having a colorful website and dashing images, it is also giving relevant information for your visitors at the right place. CRO definitely offers a good experience to your visitors. One of the other important benefits, which is related to decreasing your marketing spend, also by decreasing your customer acquisition cost. I'm going to take a quick example here to demonstrate what impact CRO has on the customer acquisition cost. Assuming there's a sales team and a marketing team. Currently, the marketing team spends about $1,000 on AdWords through which they receive 100 signups a month. Sounds like a decent number for the first month. Let's not forget the other parameters here, conversion rate and the customer acquisition cost, which is at 10% and $10 respectively. But the next month, when the demand for leads increases, the first thought that comes to a marketer's mind would be to increase the spend on marketing, on AdWords. And let's say they increase it to $1,500 and the number of leads increase to 150. This makes the sales team happy and the marketer is quite relieved. But if you look at the parameters that we looked at earlier, the conversion rate and the customer acquisition cost, they still remain the same. And that is definitely not a good thing from the manager's point of view. Now, I'm going to tell you what a smart marketer would have done instead of adding the $500 on the marketing spend. A smart marketer would try and understand the visitors from the existing traffic. They use that data to analyze the behavior and modify the website to increase more conversions. When you modify the website based on the behavior of the visitors with the same $1,000, you can get 150 signups, and this results in increase in conversion rate, and it shoots up to 15%, and thereby decreasing the customer acquisition cost to $6.66. Now, you could ask me, hey, I get it, CRO is definitely going to help my business, but where and how do I start? The answer to where is pretty simple. You need to identify what is your business goal, and the CRO process answers your next question on how to go about. Before we talk about the CRO process, we need to understand a few things about the business goals. A few examples for business goals, as I stated earlier, could be signups, newsletter subscriptions, lead generation, or even cart in an e-commerce industry. A business goal is a measurable outcome for each particular page of your website that you're working to optimize. Creating specific and measurable goal will help you stay on track with the changes and improvements that facilitates these goals. Great, now that we've understood what a business goal is, your obvious thing, oh, I'm going to move on to the CRO process. But before we enter the CRO process, there are a few questions that you need answers for. Well, let's take a look at your website and see if there's anything that annoys you. Let's take a look at the fonts on your website and see if they're legible. If the website copy is it too long and filled with a lot of technical jargon? Does your page seem cluttered? And the main factor, the call to action, is it clear and instructive? Once you have answers to all these questions, you're on your way to increase your website conversions. The CRO process, yes. Starting with analyzing and researching your visitor behavior. Basically, you need to be aware of the data. For example, source of your visitors, what's their time zone, and other details you could collect, such as the device and the browser they use to visit your site. Besides getting these details, it is imperative to understand their behavior. How do they engage with your website? Which button they give importance to? What is the path they take to reach your goal? And say if you have a form on your website, how long do they take to complete the form? What are the bottlenecks they see in the form? Based on the data you've collected, you can create your hypothesis. Hey, what's a hypothesis? A hypothesis is nothing but a sketch that helps you understand the logical consequences of any action that you take. It works by targeting what you would like to change and predict the outcome of it. With this, you can say the three parts of a hypothesis would be the proposed change, desired effect from the change, and the rationale behind why the change will lead to the desired effect. Once you have the hypothesis ready, we need to allow it to take shape in terms of design. Tweak your website according to your hypothesis and test them out. We need to wait for the test to provide a conclusive result. Based on the test results, you can choose to implement the best version of your web page. You can work with your engineering and the design team to implement the changes. And the final step, repeat the entire process to increase the conversion rate gradually. Awesome. Now we've looked at what is CRO, what are the benefits of a CRO process, and how do we start a CRO process. Well, it looks a little overwhelming. If you ask me, it also looks a little laborious if I'm a starter for a CRO process, in which case a complete CRO tool is all you need. Allow me to introduce Zoho PageSense. We built PageSense with the aim of solving the CRO process in just 3 steps: track, analyze, and optimize. You can track your visitors using the funnel analysis and goals, and you can analyze your visitor behavior using the 3 features, which is Heatmap, Form Analytics, and Session Recording. With all these inferences and your hypothesis, you can optimize your website using A/B testing and split URL testing. Finally, before we move on to the demonstration, I would like to let you know that CRO is not a one-time process and it needs to be iterative. We need to learn from our results and keep experimenting so that our conversions also increase gradually. I'm going to let my colleague Tanya to give you a product walkthrough of PageSense. Over to you, Tanya.
This is the website I'll be optimizing today. It is of a company called Out of Line, and they offer design services. You can see here they have a very pretty straightforward website in the form of a couple of CTA placements across the length of their homepage. They also have a form towards the end in which they have the visitors enter their email ID so that they can subscribe to the latest updates. They also have these dynamic elements on their website in the form of these carousel and the drop downs from the menu. On their contact page, they have a longer form through which they collect leads. And towards the end of this process, the first cycle of optimization, we will be able to convert more visitors from their current traffic. First, I will develop an idea that I can test using the track and analyze tools, and then I'll get to optimizing the conversion rates by using the optimize tools. In the track section, we have funnel analysis, and in the analyze section, we have heat map and form analytics. And finally, in the optimize section, we have an A/B test and split URL test. To get started with PageSense, you'll have to add this particular code snippet to all the pages of your website. This is a one-time process per project, and you can get started with creating all the experiments that you want to. So first, I'm going to create a funnel analysis experiment. This will help me track the visitors that come on the website. Creating a funnel analysis experiment is very simple. I have to enter the name of the experiment and enter the steps that the visitor might follow once the visitor reaches my website. In our case, we have listed down these particular steps. The first one is the home page, and then I expect the visitor to traverse to the product design page and finally reach the contact us page. When I launch the experiment, I'll get a report which looks something like this. I'll get the visitor count, the conversions, which is the number of visitors who have traversed through all of these steps, the conversion rate, and the average completion time. That is the average time taken for a visitor to convert. So here I can see from the funnel that the drop-off rate from the home page is maximum. If I'm able to optimize a visitor's experience on the home page, I might be able to decrease this drop-off rate and consequently increase the number of conversions that happen through this funnel. Next, I'm going to understand what really is happening on the home page by creating a heat map experiment on it. So I click on heat map, give it a name, provide the page URL, and click activate. The report will look something like this. Here I can see clicks on all the elements, even the dynamic one like these drop downs. And also I can scroll down and observe that the behavior of the visitors is as expected. I can see a couple of clicks here in the email field and also on these menu items and the CTA. So to further understand what really is happening on the page, I can go to the scroll map, which will show me how far down the page the visitors have scrolled down to. So here I can see that only 61% have visited the average fold, and then the percentage just keeps decreasing as we move downward. Next, I move to the attention map, in which I can observe which sections of my website have gotten what amount of attention from the visitors. This is in terms of the time spent on particular sections. Here on the lower sections, I can see a variation between 3.8 to 5 seconds. So the time increases when we come to the our services section. This gives me certain insight into visitor behavior on my website. Say I want to see the behavior of one particular audience segment, understand the heat map of visitors coming from, for example, Texas. So I quickly navigate to the heat map, click on segment. We have the smart and the advanced segment types right here. And I can drill down to choose something close to even the region level to understand the behavior on that particular audience segment. So here visitors from Texas are primarily clicking on the contact button. So this segmentation facility is available across all the features of Zoho PageSense. So you're free to experiment with this in any way, drill down to find the behavior of one particular niche audience segment that you're interested in, and then optimize from there on. Next, I'm going to create a form analytics experiment to help understand what's happening on the long form on the contact page. Creating this is similar to the other experiment creations. I just enter the name of the experiment, provide the URL. All the forms on that particular page will be listed, such as this. Here on the contact page, I have all these form fields in this particular form. And I select the form fields which I want to track and I hit activate. You will get a report which looks like this. Here we have the form metrics and the field metrics. In the form metrics, we see the total number of visitors who have come to that page, the total number of visits, the starters, which are the number of visitors who've started filling out the form, the conversions, which are the number of visitors who have successfully submitted the form, and the abandons, who are the number of visitors who have just dropped off. We can observe the behavior of these metrics over time, and we can also see the form submission statistics, the average time to submit, and the average time spent on that form. In field metrics, we can observe all the fields and their corresponding metrics. Here we have focuses, which are the number of visitors who have clicked on that field, the interactions, which are the number of visitors who have started filling in information, the refocuses, which means the number of visitors who have clicked away and then clicked on this field again, the corrections, which is the number of visitors who have deleted the piece of information and entered a new piece of information. We also have the drop-offs, which are the number of visitors who have abandoned the form. We also have a filled and blank fields column, and towards the end we have a hesitation and total time. Here we can see the average time that has been spent on each particular field and the time the visitor has spent hesitating to fill in information. Here in the example which I've taken for zip code, the hesitation time is very less compared to the average time spent filling in information. So with all of this information, I can find out what are the points of friction the visitor is facing while filling out a form. Here I can see 3 red flags. First is the email field, second is the company, and third is the phone field. Now, all these 3 serve as private information, and the visitor might be reluctant in filling in all of these fields. So perhaps optimizing these in some way can help us increase the number of successful submissions from this form. Finally, with all the insights that you've received from funnel analysis, heat maps, and farm analytics, we are going to create an A/B test to find out if there is a version of the home page which can get me more signups. I start off by creating an A/B test right here. I enter the name, provide the page URL, and I hit create. I'll be taken to the editor window, in which I'm free to make any changes I want to without even knowing how to code. For example, if I want to change this piece of text, I'll just hit edit text and add an exclamation point right here. And that's it. I'm done. And say I want to change the color of this text in this CTA. I can just click on the CTA. It will load the background color and text color and all the other formatting options available. I will just like to change this to a pleasant blue and I'm done. In our case, I've also changed the background color of this sign up button. I've changed it to blue, and when I hit save, I'm done with all the changes that I want to make on the variation of my original homepage. Let's save and I go to next. Here, I can see all the goals that I've created for this particular experiment. A goal is a metric that you want to track. Our primary goal in this case is to track the signups that we receive through the original and the variation. That can be done by choosing click on elements goal. I click on this goal. The website will be loaded inside the page itself, and I can just select the element I want to track, give a goal a name, and then hit save. I can also choose between all of these other goals right here, between click on links, page views, revenue goal, time spent on page, engagements, and custom event in case you want to go beyond the scope of all of these goals right here. Next, we go to the audience tab in which we select the audience segment we want to include in this experiment. I can choose from all of these preset segments or create a custom audience of my own. So now I'm going to create a custom audience in which I'm going to choose query parameter, enter the key, the value, enter the name of this audience type, and hit save. Next, I hop onto the configuration tab. Here I can segment the traffic between the original and the variation, set the experiment mode, choose the activation mode, enable heat map so that I can track the heat map of both the original and the variation, schedule the experiment, and add integrations. We can choose between Google Analytics, AdWords, Mixpanel, Kissmetrics so that we can transfer variation specific information to these analytics application. Next, I go to the summary tab, which will show all the changes that I've made, and I launch the experiment. I'll get a report which looks something like this. I have the overview tab and the detailed analysis tab. I can see here the variation 1 has outperformed or won over the original. I've gotten roughly 9% more conversion rate on variation when compared to the original. I click on the detail analysis tab and I can see the conversion rate over time for both of these, original and the variation of my homepage. I scroll down and I find a more detailed insight into what really has happened to propel the variation over the original. I can see the visitor count and the conversions that have happened over original and the variation. I can see the conversion rate, the difference interval, and the improvement. So there is 76.19% more conversions that we've received from the variation than the original. And finally, I can see the significance, which is I can say with 100% certainty that the variation has won over the original because of the changes that we have made in the editor and not because of some random human behavior. Another test that we can run, depending upon our requirement, is a split URL test, in which you can compare the conversion rate of two web pages instead of creating a variation of one and find out which one is getting more conversions. PageSense also has a Chrome extension with which you can see the heat map and the A/B test results directly on the live page instead of having to go inside the app. And this can be really helpful when it comes to pages that are beyond login sessions. So to see the report of a heat map that you've created inside PageSense, you can simply click on the extension and click on the heat map that is listed and enable view report. This will directly load the heat map on top of the live web page, and you can observe all the stats right here, which we saw inside the product. You can go into the scroll map and see how far down the page your visitors have scrolled down to. And also, with the attention map, you can see which sections the visitors are spending the most time on. You can also create a new heat map experiment or an A/B test directly from within the extension. All you have to do is click on the Add button and choose between the two experiments to get started. Next, I would like to take you to the new exciting features which we have in the pipeline for Zoho PageSense. First is the goals. You can choose between all of these goal types which are unique to a particular project in a space. Choose from click on elements, click on links, time spent on page, and custom event goals. Say I want to create time spent on page goal. Just have to give it a name, give the time threshold, and give the URL of the page which I want to track. I'll get a report which looks something like this. I'll have the visitor count, the conversions, the conversion rate, and the average time the visitor has taken to convert. I can get the metrics of this goal over time. I can also see the top web pages that have gotten me more conversions compared to the other. I can see the device specific performance and also the top countries in which I get maximum conversions for visitors that I receive. Next is the session recording experiment that we've added to the analysis section of Zoho PageSense. Creating it is similar to creating any other experiment. Simply click on session recording, enter the name, and hit create. You will be taken to the configuration tab where you have to enter the URL of the page you want to record. Select the audience type that you want to record in this experiment. Provide the elements that you want to mask. This is particularly useful when you have certain elements on your website that point directly to the identity of the visitor. You can directly enter the selectors right here or choose from the selectors that are loaded within this window when you enter the web page URL. And when you hit launch, you'll get reports with the recordings in it. You will know the time the visitor has spent on the page with the duration. You will see the number of goals that the visitor has accomplished. You'll see the number of unique pages that the visitor has visited. On your website, you'll see the device, the OS, the browser, the country, and the date on which the recording was created, which is the date on which your visitor has accessed your website. When I click on this recording, I will be able to see a playback of my visitor's engagement with the website. I will also get to see all the events that the visitor has taken part in while he's on it. Any information about the IP is anonymized. We will be able to see the user agent that the visitor has using and any inputs that the visitor has done in the form of keystrokes in any form fields are marked with an asterisk as well. Next is the adverse integration that we've stretched across multiple features in Zoho PageSense. This is a funnel analysis experiment. I can see the corresponding impressions, clicks, conversions, cost per conversion. Here, I can see all the campaigns which have the URL that I've configured in my funnel analysis experiment. And I can do the same for all ad groups as well. And that's about it. This brings an end to our PageSense demo. Additionally, here are the value adds that come with Zoho PageSense. Besides the Chrome extension, we also offer role-based access, drill-down audience targeting, out-of-the-box single-page application support, report sharing facility, and the ability to forecast reports in an A/B test. To summarize everything that we learned today, we started off by understanding the benefits of having a robust CRO process, namely understanding your visitors better, decreasing marketing spend while increasing ROI, providing a better user experience, and most importantly, providing a positive impact on the CAC. We also learned about identifying the business goal, developing a hypothesis to test, and implementing the test. In these, we covered tracking visitor drop off, analyzing visitor behavior, and optimizing your website to increase conversions. And finally, we learned how to create a CRO process for your business using Zoho PageSense's features, namely funnel analysis, heat maps, form analytics, A/B tests, and split URL tests. And we also had a sneak peek into the new and upcoming features, goals, session recording, and adverse integration.
Hey guys, I hope the demo was very well taken. If you have any questions, we are here to answer it. The chat window is open for you guys. Hey Natasha, thank you so much for your feedback. We can't wait for you to use PageSense, and if you have any queries, you can reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to assist. And Piers was requested for a copy of the presentation. Sure, Piers, we will share the presentation with you over an email. Angie has asked if this tool can be integrated with the existing site, or do you have to build the site through some software? If you have an existing website or web page, you can integrate PageSense. All you have to do is install the code snippet into the header section of the web page. Piers again. So when are the new features going to be available? We should be launching these new features to public in the next couple of weeks. We will keep you posted if there's any change. Hilda has asked about tracking landing pages. Of course, you can track landing pages using Zoho PageSense. Thank you so much, Piers, for your feedback. Session recording says coming soon because it's still under development, but we wanted you guys to have a sneak peek on how it's going to perform. So if you have any suggestions or feedback regarding that particular feature, feel free to share it with us. Hilda's asked about tracking Facebook pages and forms. I'm afraid tracking Facebook pages and forms would not be possible because you would have to embed the code snippet onto the Facebook page. I believe we would not have permissions for that. Jose has talked about session recording and he's not able to see that on his account. We haven't opened session recording for any of our users. We would be opening it soon. We'll keep you posted on that. Natasha, if you have a WordPress site, you can integrate Zoho PageSense with WordPress. We have an exhaustive help document which would help you do that. Great. Piers has asked regarding a question regarding pricing and the definition of a project. Sure. PageSense is priced based on the number of projects and the number of unique visitors that you're going to choose. When you talk about projects is something. So PageSense works on hierarchy, wherein you start with space, wherein space denotes your organization. Projects denote a collection of experiments. For example, if you have multiple domains, you can use one project for each domain, and you can run multiple experiments inside each project. And projects can be a client as well. Ashley has asked about the accuracy of the test results. Ashley, once you start tracking visitors on your web page using Zoho PageSense, we track all visitors who come to your web page, so the results are pretty accurate.
Hi Ashley, you can choose between three statistical significance in an A/B test. First being 95, the middle one being 95, the first one being 90, and the last one being 99. So it's up to you to choose the kind of statistical significance you want to when you are dealing with an A/B test or a split URL test. So, to clear to everybody else what statistical significance is, it is the certainty with which we can define the results of a test. Say the result of my test, say the variation one has outperformed the other in terms of conversions. I can say with 95% certainty or with 95% statistical significance that the result of this test is based on pure math and based on the changes that you made in the editor while creating the variation, and it is not based on human behavior, which is random in nature. So, as far as PageSense is concerned, we offer flexibility in choosing your own statistical significance between three modes.
Pierce, to give you a detailed answer for your question, when you subscribe to Zoho One, you get an enterprise version of PageSense, wherein each employee who subscribed to Zoho One would get about 30,000 unique visitors, and overall you get about 25 projects. Well, if there are no more questions, I think we can close the session for now. I believe people have requested for certain information. We would be sending all those relevant information over an email, and the recorded webinar session will be available on the PageSense website. Also, you can access it over the email as well. And if you have any technical questions, you can always write to support@zohopagesense.com. We have one more question from Piers, that a detailed training on how to interpret the results. We are working on a training module. We will definitely share it with you once we have all the details in place. Thank you so much for joining us, Piers, and thank you so much for joining everyone.